Hello, hello. Let me quickly adjust camera. All right. Let's not scare you off with the big spreadsheet. All right, all right. Uh, hello, hello. During this, at least at my place, ugly morning. Hope yours is better. Let's, as usual, do the audio checks first. Diabolit, witaj piękny kolego. Siemano, siemano, ziomeczku ukochany. Co tam, co tam? How are you doing? Quick. Audio check. Microphone check, microphone check. Got Twitch. Alright, we got the Twitch situation sorted out. And how about YouTube? YouTube 1 2 1 2. YouTube also works as well. Okay, we're fine off to a good start. And I fucked up. So, what will be happening today is another round of Godot evaluation from someone who uses Unreal Engine most of the time. Me and my friend Pashi here, we're making a project together, and it is such in early stages that we could still jump ship to Godot. Why? Well, there were lots of news around Unreal Engine 6, but also during that news I was like reading upon Godot, and I realized, hey, actually Godot might be better suited towards our project. It is more lightweight, we could ship to more low-end devices, etc. So why not? And also Godot seems like forces you to learn more than Unreal, although Unreal also forces you to learn. Yeah, so we are like evaluating what's going on in here. So on the last stream I was just going through like example projects that were offered from in like the Godot asset library, just to see how everything is set up and shit like that. And give me a sec. Alright. I think now the balance is a little bit better, audio balance. So now I quickly wanna assemble, that's the way I usually test game technology. I'm trying to do like a simple endless runner, because usually this type of small game, at least on my end, gives me like a quick intro into how do you set up a character, how do you set up collisions, how do you set up scripts, how do you set up scorekeeping, how do you set up spawning of elements, etc, right? It's not gonna be a good game, it's just gonna be a game with some functionality just to test out the engine and see how you can set up things first. That's how I always check stuff out. And while we at it, Pashi, let me show you something. I need to share it with you. I created like a big spreadsheet where I'm listing the functionalities that are extremely important in shipping the game, the Unreal Engine 5 naming or functionality or system or whatever the fuck they use to implement something, the Godot equivalent that I was able to find with some links, if it is an external plugin, and some additional comments that if I found someone talking on some forums and about some functionality, I was like either quickly summarizing it or just straight up copying to comments. So yeah, I'm trying to compile like this whole resource where we could compare directly a couple of things. For example, Unreal Engine 5 have visual scripting blueprints, And Godot, some fine folks created their own version of blueprints for Godot. That they look like this, look very similar. Haven't really used it, and I want to try it out on some stream. Not sure if we would be using it, right? Because it feels to me like it kinda might defeat the purpose for GD script and C# scripting in here. But maybe for something, you know, making a visual script for something might be a good thing. I don't know yet. So that's one fun thing that I found. And there was also another thing that I found that felt quite cool to show. Oh yeah, someone created like PCG-like functionality for Godot, like proton scatter, where you can like in a kind of similar fashion create stuff, but there's no graph, right? You're doing, it is more like a point scatterer. I think Godot Flow was, yes, has graph like language to do some things. And there's another node graph procedural content generator with data flow where you can do some things. Looks really, really nice. It's not for anyone else watching it either in the future or something. We ain't making a game like this. Our game is an indie JRPG roguelike, so not at all like this. But sometimes you just need like, you want to assemble like a quick graph so it can spawn visual things in the level. Even though our game is, you know, will have style that is more like this, you still have some scenery around, and if we need to scatter some points, create some logic for spawning something, then, you know, it's better to have some help with it. It's better to not buy the full Houdini license just to scatter something simple, right? So that was one thing. Oh yeah, Godot doesn't have the debug console in a similar way as Unreal has, at least from what I found, for shipped builds, where you can ship a build, press console, the console shows up, and you can start typing in some commands to test out something or whatever. But someone created a nice plugin for that, and it's actually more than just console. It has lots of other stuff, and that one, if we will decide to ship on Godot, that's the one thing that we will be using for sure. Just to, you know, have more debug capabilities in builds. Translation. Was there something else? Ah, yeah, of course. They have, Godot has 2 attempts for ability system, Godot gameplay systems. That is some doc tutorial. Oh my god, there's like the whole docs, etc. But yeah, something very similar to Unreal Engine's gameplay ability system that we might use, we might not use, I don't know. We might be building things from scratch. At least I will be checking it out at some future stream. And another thing that is also a gas-like for Godot, Forge. That also has some nice features, etc, etc. Forge, Godot, Unreal Gas-like system, etc. So very nice. Also, Pashi, the thing that I was talking about, using neural networks to test out our balances, etc. Someone created a plugin exactly for that. Oh, there's a trailer. Yeah, where you can teach game to play itself, etc, etc. Oh, there's also learn by imitation. Do I see it correctly? Yeah, but for sure I will be making a stream on that if we decide to go with Godot. So that is nice. Sorry, I have a little situation going on with my sinuses. Some infection is going around in kindergartens, so the young one in our house got something, and it of course AOE to the rest of us. Material maker. That's a nice thing that I can recommend to anyone from my findings. Someone did a fork of Godot and created the whole, as I understand, open source material maker made with Godot that you can of course use with Godot, but you can use with anything really. So it is kind of like a substance designer, but for free. I would love to use this, even if we decide to ship with. Oh my god! I want to turn off audio. Yeah, like you can work with it kinda as if you were working with the substance designer, from what I understand. Real nice. I need to take a peek into it. Yeah, and there's still a lot of things that I need to find equivalents. There are a couple of things that I didn't find equivalents for. Like for example, in Unreal there's something called Chaos Visual Debugger that lets you like record physics interaction over time, either in a build on an editor, record it to a file, and then replay it in the editor to see what was actually going on there, right? That's a powerful thing because sometimes certain debugs and certain bugs, can be so tricky to reproduce and set up good debugging, either via breakpoints or logging, that I used Chaos Visual Debugger in so many times where you can just record what was happening and then slowly frame by frame figure out, kind of like a detective on a crime scene that is looking at the monitors. Zinx is here. Hi Zinx. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're doing alright, my friend. And I hope the weather is better at your place. Here it sucks. I completely don't feel like it's July. I feel like it's October or maybe even November. Great, and you? Yeah, I'm fine. Got a little sinus situation going on. Infection is going around in kindergarten, so our young one, got one, and then AOE in the house to us, so I'm, medicating myself. We have around at 11:13, 30 degrees Celsius. Holy shit! So you got proper summer. And here in Poland we had, like I guess 2 weeks ago, around 40 degrees, then 30 degrees, and now it's October. So it varies. And Pashi says it's amazing now because he loves this kind of weather. Yeah, but in 2 weeks or in a week, it's going to be 30 again or something like this. So I might be happy, although I don't like not having AC in the house when it's 30, 40 degrees, and I'm working in the day job and my RTX is going. So it's not only 30 degrees outside, but also this big heat generator constantly going on. That's great. One of the pluses, Pashi, if we decide to ship with Godot, is that I think our graphics card won't be generating that much heat. So that alone could be a sway into that direction. Alright. Yeah, so Chaos Visual Debugger. There is no such thing for Godot, or at least I haven't found it. Maybe this is something to develop, I don't know. But also our game won't feature a lot of, or almost none, physics interactions, so this also might not be something that we are interested in, right? Yeah. Zinx, what are you working on right now? What are the challenges that you're trying to overcome with your development? Is there anything else that I found like, oh no, there is nothing like this, and it seems like it sucks that there is nothing like this. Render stack, lightning system, blah blah blah. Visual timeline logger. That one actually might hit us, Pashi. Visual logger in Unreal Engine 5. Let me quickly show you. If my Unreal decides to work with me. Visual logger. I love this plugin. It helped me so much over the years. Because you can just record the part of the gameplay. Either in editor, and I think, although I don't remember right now, you can also do it in build, but yeah, I think it works in build, but right now I have a brain fart and I cannot remember. But you can just record the part of gameplay, and specific channels, debug channels, are recording data. Along with like visualizations on a level, right? So you can record what the given actor or what the given system is doing, then put that file, load it into the editor. You have a timeline and you can start scrubbing, looking for what were the values before the frame where everything got fucked up. After the frame, you can try to render things in level via debug renderer to see what was going on there. Like really, really powerful powerful stuff. You can do actor snapshots, log messages, debug shapes for rendering of information. Extremely powerful. Zink said, sorry, have been on the phone if you said something towards me. Not a problem. I only ask how hard. What are you working on right now with your development? Like, what are the challenges that right now you are trying to overcome? I'm curious. Yeah, so that's one powerful debug tool in Unreal, and I found no real equivalent, at least for now, in Godot, and that's the one that I'm like, that we will need. Because imagine we might have a battle, right? And we would constantly be facing against some bug, and even with breakpoints and debug logging, we just don't see why some fucked up thing can happen. We can just record the part of the gameplay. Or even if in the situation where the game is already shipped and people are reporting to us, we can ship quick patch that creates this kind of file and sends to our servers, right? For this specific like battle or something. So we can get the data from players and figure out like, okay, what is fucking up? Oh, that's what's fucking up. Okay, right? So that's one thing that I feel like might be really, really needed from like the sad things that I haven't found. And yeah, and the rest things that I need to find are still ahead of us. And Pashi, how did you have a chance since the last stream to play around with Godot a little bit more or something? How is your progress, Pashi, going with Godot? Are you liking it so far? Do you hate it? Alright, let's get back to here. What was the progress of my thing? I think I just... yeah, I had no lightning, and I think... I wanted to do like a fake jump, if I remember correctly. Diabolit says, I like it, but it's more challenging than Unreal for me. Oh. What is the challenging part? Is it the scripting via text, or is it something else? Oh, and we got a response from Zinc. Still the engine. I inserted a .png reader that is dual, but you still need to declare the name. It's not a modular system that accesses the .png file itself, or the abbreviative. The other part is I made a fallback texture if your texture is not being loaded because of a typo. That's good. I want to insert first modular file reader that uses .png, JPEG, GLFT, GLB, because it is binary. And later when time comes, more complex, like .fbx. Today I want to implement the fly camera, but with no zoom, etc. Oh damn! So a lot of progress I see. A lot of progress. Nice, nice. Yeah, and these are the to all the folks that might be wondering what the hell Zinx is talking about. It's like these are the foundations of the engine that allows you to just drag and drop certain things or make it work for you. Import files, etc. Like these are the foundations of the software that we are using, right? To import stuff and use it. So that's what Zinx is working on, and that is like being an unsung hero of development, because those things are extremely needed. Gabble, it says, scripting. I'm trying to implement some basic actions for the enemy, however I may switch to do the AP chain mechanic. Oh, okay. Okay, so the scripting in text form is, and general scripting is harder. Yeah, I guess like in Unreal's blueprint, it's easier to explore API because you can just press right mouse button and it shows you the API that you can use in the given context and explore how to even put things together, right? Here API might be a little bit harder to explore, I guess. Yeah. What kind of enemy actions were you trying to implement? We can also like try to set up like a session when we are trying to go through some problem together. Because I also haven't scripted in Godot, like I'm learning as you are right now. And I see that I have some fucked up jumping script. So we will be fixing that, trying to fix that, so I can have like a nice in place jump. We'll see how it works. But yeah. That's the thing that so many people are finding disappointing about the future of Unreal Engine 6, that there will be a new scripting language. Okay, yada yada. We can talk all day about verse it assumptions, how they want it to work and what it feels like it's being most useful for, right? But the fact that there is no visual editor for that, and I mean people found like some experiments with that, but Epic publicly declared that for now there are no plans for bringing that. Disappointed so many artists, designers, and even gameplay programmers, because it was like a true tool of democratization. Because text script, yeah, for me it's okay because it's similar to the C++ programming, right? But for so many people, visual nodes and connections, seeing how data flows, it's so much more readable. And games like, for example, Expedition 33 wouldn't be possible without this visual editor, right? So yeah, people are finding that disappointing. Zinx says, I spent around 2 hours for 5 errors that I could not solve, but have been so easy at the end. Ah yes, that's the story of game development. At the day job, I think on Friday, me and my friend that was helping me out, we were working on some UI bug fixes. And there was one particular very stupid bug. One line wasn't properly like stretching or whatever, right? And it took us almost all day and two of us to figure out. In the end, it was something simple, but yeah, that's the story of GameDev life. Things I relate 100%. 2 hours for 5 hours that I could not solve, but have been so easy at the end. Exactly. That's the name of the game. You create systems, and they are going. You constantly feel progress, and then the one bug that you are debugging for the longest time. I would say 2 hours is, it is irritating, but it can definitely be worse. But it is irritating. It is irritating. And then you find what's the reason, and the fix is easy. Sometimes it can be one line change, sometimes it can be just the even simpler change than just one line, right? Maybe wrong API call or wrong float or value or whatever, right? But to get to the bottom of this, always problematic. Alright, so what I was actually doing here, what was the problem? That's one thing that I have a problem with. I would love to like take the script, put it in like some outside window out of the editor, and then have 3D viewport somewhere else, right? But from what I saw, someone forked like the version of Godot where you can do this. I don't know how to do it here, or it might be impossible. But fuck it, if we would be actually shipping in Godot, then I would be creating scripts in Rider anyway. Zing says, in my case it was the problem I declared the viewport variables as a result and not as a self-declaring variable, because for a result you need an agreement and a disagreement. In Rust it is OK and error later. And I deleted just the OK and everything worked. Okay. Oh, so you're doing everything in Rust. Okay, that's interesting. I always wanted to pick up Rust because, so many friends of mine, programmers, were saying good things about that. And there is this game engine Bevy, something like this. And I always felt like, yeah, it might be a good, excuse to try out the Rust. Bevy engine, right? Yeah, it is a game engine built in Rust. Yeah. How are you finding Rust? I guess you're liking it. Zink says, I don't use Bevy, I'm creating everything from scratch myself. Hats off to you, my dude. Hats off to you. Yeah. I super respect that you're creating the whole engine from scratch in Rust. Is Rust like your main language, you would say, or it is just one of the languages that you know and like? Okay, so the thing is, my guy. What the hell? Because I have this scene, not this scene on. If I press run current scene, okay. I understand my problem. Yeah, my guy doesn't fall, even though the gravity should impact him. This real robot. Alright, so I am adding jump impulse to velocity y, but there is no... But wait, I am multiplying my gravity times delta, and it's my velocity y, and I am extending character body 3D, and kinda sorta should work. Because that is constant, right? Minus 9.8 times delta, so for one frame. And if the action is not jump, then the velocity should be exactly that. And that should be moving my character down. So I guess the motion mode is grounded. Up direction is Y. One of the things that, as a heavy Unreal user, I have to, change my thinking about, because I think Unreal uses left hand and Godot uses right hand coordinates. So that means that Y axis is actually up and down, right? Z is forward. So, okay, physics body, blah, blah, blah. Collision object, disable mode. Oh, you have like those layers and masks. Holy shit, that is like, can you like name those layers? Oh, rename layer. Yeah, okay. So there is like a collision mask that we can create. That's nice, Physics interpolation, inherit, blah, blah. Okay, everything is great, but I just don't see why it's not really happening. I had a project that was showing this off, right? Let me quickly turn it on. I think it was that one that I was like taking a peek at as an example. Zinx. I started earlier with HTML, PHP, Java, and Swap because of Unity to C#, later to C++ because Unity made that disaster with the pricing. Ah, yes. Pumbaa, huh? Oh. My cat is coming here. Yay! Come here. Pumbaa. Oh. You wanna chill there? Okay. My cat just wants to chill out here. Yeah, so HTML, PHP, Java, and Swap because of Unity to C#, later to C++ because Unity made the disaster with the pricing. To Unreal, and now I was just curious because of how Rust works, and I don't need to torment my brain because of memory leak. In Rust, it is embedded in the Rust compiler itself, and the compiler is picky and can't phrase it otherwise. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like with C++ and C-based languages in general, you can fuck up memory real good. With C, it goes without the question because you got memory allocation and freeing memory, and it is expected of you that you will do it by hand, right? And it's easy to create memory faults and problems, etc., etc. With C++, you have like smart pointers and everything else, etc. But game engines usually are building their own. Hey, Pumbaa. Say hello to the world. Here. My cat came to me. Yay, Pumbaa. Hey. You're chilling? Yay. Do you want to just be on my lap? Yeah. So I understand you completely. And with C++, you have to create your own garbage collector, etc. You got smart pointers, but still you can have a memory leak, and this is problematic. And I've heard that Rust is built from the ground up to it is embedded in the language and in the compilers, and it just won't let you have a memory leak or fucked up memory or anything like this. And that's why a lot of people are saying that eventually C++ might be abandoned in favor for Rust, right? And there are like lots of efforts to build Rust game engines, etc. And I can see that. And especially as you are trying to write your own engine, taking that memory problems out of equation seems very, how to say it? Very enticing. It seems like, hey, why not? Like one headache less, right? Because you're making your own engine. So there will be a lot of headaches anyway. So taking one out that is embedded in the engine, in the language itself, that's great. And how do you find learning Rust compared to like C++ or C#? Is it like easy to jump ship from C-based languages to this, or does it take a lot of wrapping your head around different concepts? Oh, Pumba. You're such a sweet cat. Such a gentleman. British gentleman. Yes. It is. What you're hearing, Pumba, is a vacuum going on. Alright. I need to. Here. I stay close. That guy has no. My cat has no, like. How to say it? He doesn't have a break button when it comes to eating. If I put 6 KFC's big buckets and fill them with his food, with cat food, he would eat all 6 of them and then would die happily. I have to like already portion him, even though he only this month will be a full year. Zink says, you're right there, but Rams comes with different problems. You can't have more than one mutable variable in one file, otherwise the compiler is going to go nuts. Oh, or not even compile. No, Rust is far more complicated because the docs are almost non-existent for game development or even game engine development, and you need to use everything that come across your way from Rust.doc to AI. Oh! I didn't know that it allows only one mutable variable per file. That's very hardcore requirement. I don't really understand why they would say like this. I mean, coming from C++, I wish I wouldn't have to type const before every non-mutable. I wish everything was assumed mutable. Assumed const, non-mutable, and I would, type in mutable when I actually want to change a variable, right? That's what I wish on the C++ side of things. But here it seems like it's taken into the even more hardcore level because, especially for game development, game engine development, it seems like you need many mutables in one file. So how do you go around that? Do you like have to artificially create lots of small files, each one containing mutable? Like, how do you go around that? It's very hardcore that for the whole file you can only have one mutable. It forces you to write in a very specific way and avoid C++ type of data handling and being able to override const requirement and mutate the variable that's supposed to be non-mutable. It is doable, but goddamn, seems so hardcore. Zink says, I did read up on it yesterday. For GUI, UI, and there's a button that you need to press when you have for 2 buttons. Mutable, it is not going to compile. This is why you need an enum like EGY that acts like a boolean. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, so you have to like think basically in such a way that instead of like in the C-based languages you declare like multiple mutable variables and work with them, you kind of have to think more about like, okay, let me use enum, let me create a one struct that contains everything that I want mutable, and then create one struct, declare all of its fields, and then all of the members of the struct, and then use that struct as a singular mutable in the file. That is very interesting. This is a very strongly enforced design decision that for me right now it's hard to wrap my brain around, but since Rust is being adopted in the world, I guess, it does serve its purpose. In Rust, Zink says, in Rust there is more abstract thinking, less structure for developing. Okay. Damn, one day I will sit down to Rust and try to, like wrap my brain around it, because it is interesting how different it is. For me, and it's always good to do like a little bit of brain muscle training and stuff like that. Sion is here. Hi Sion. Hello, what is this? This is Godot. But for you, my friend, I can do SDM. But this is Godot. How are you doing, Sion? Any plans with your family? Where's Pumba? He's here. Hey. Pumba is under desk of my partner. I guess she left some cables hanging there, so he will be biting. Alright, so let's take a peek at this example script, right? And try to figure out the fuck I did wrong. If we are not on the floor. Okay, we can do this type of thing, although I felt like it is not needed, but whatever. If we are not on the floor, then we are falling. We can, yeah, let's for now just copy everything and see if it will work. Then there's directional input that I do not care about. And then there's move and slide. Is there like a move to with velocity Y? No. Model rotation Y. There is like a change of... yeah, but this is just like rotating of the character. So it should be working in a sense. There's like a collision shape, capsule shape 3D. I think I have a collision shape. Hey, Pumba, hey. Sion says, good, just chilling, about to eat breakfast. Oh, what you eating for breakfast? What are you having? And what are your plans for today? Are you playing something? Yesterday I wanted to watch the football game for the World Cup. England versus Norwegia. Norway, what the fuck I said? Norwegia, oh my god. Norway with the Haaland, but for some reason I started playing Spider-Man 2 instead. Trying to listen on the commentary and, alt tab whenever I heard, excitement in the commentator's voice, but I felt like I got too much into Spider-Man 2. Okay, so there's really no jump impulse gravity. I have everything set up as they do have in here for jumping, and if you play this game from this example, if you press jump, it just works, right? Oh my god, I wanted to press. I have the same muscle memory. I started pressing the same shortcuts that I would press in Unreal Engine to stop the game. Okay, so now my thing is pretty much similar, right? I have physics process. If we are not on the floor, then we are changing gravity, right? If we are on the floor and the action presses jump, we are adding this jump impulse. And let's see why it might not work. And I got the wrong thing. And now it doesn't work at all. It will be funny if this whole stream will be about trying to make jump work in the Godot. Nothing happens. The breakpoints are working? I think they are. Actually, I want the breakpoint in here and I want a breakpoint here. Alright. How do I F5 on the breakpoint? Which means like, yeah, I got it. Now move along. Sion says, gonna eat some egga. Gonna eat some egga. Eggs, bread, and salad. Maybe start to think about dinner. Already? God damn. I think I can relate. Sion says, Godot, good luck, kid. Thank you. Might need it. Debug, step over. It is under F12. Okay, so we're not on the floor. Why do you think we are not on the floor? What? That is interesting. It thinks we... Oh, so that's why gravity might not have worked in a previous version of the script. Because it, I think it was just flying constantly. Wait, no, it doesn't make sense. So this never jumps in, right? Yeah, because it constantly thinks we are not on the floor. It thinks we are in the air. But for some reason... Okay, step over. What is the velocity right now? Can I preview it? It's 0? Hey, Pumbaa. Damn, you're still here. Look how big this guy got. Look how big this guy got. Used to be small, sweet kitty even 3 months ago. Now he's a big, big boy. I should rename you from Pumbaa to Notorious Big. Biggie. Biggie, biggie, biggie. Can't you see some of the birds entice me? Yay. Okay, Pumbaa. You're watching me program a lot. Tell me, what the fuck is wrong with you? Show me the good breakpoint. No? Okay, you wanna go? Alright. You can just be on my lap. What the hell is the big animal? Hippo? No, it's just a British cat. Fat bastard. Nah, I love him. He's not a bastard. No, he's not a bastard. He's big. Can I like put the camera more like this? Yeah. Look at him, how big he is. He's bigger than my both legs combined. Yeah, he got big. He got big. Alright, let me quickly readjust the camera. Whoa. You got some big nails. I cannot let you like this. I need you. Yeah, I need to put like something over my desk so you can just sit right beside me. That's what you want, baby. Zink says you need a Maine Coon cat. My friend had a Maine Coon cat, even bigger than this guy here. Like, huge cat. Maine Coons are awesome. Maine Coons are awesome. Alright. Do you have a cat, Zinks? Perhaps a Maine Coon? Pumbaa, no. Those cables are not to be touched. Not only you will destroy the computer, but 230 volts will go right through you. No. Yeah, he has obsession with cables. I try to like give him other things to like bite on and play around with, but for some reason cables is the prime target for him. I strongly suspect, you know, used to be a guy in the previous life that was collecting cables or something. Alright, so the engine constantly thinks that we are not on the floor, but for some reason, can I like the first thing that I want to debug, like members, self, gravity, locals. Can I just like see what actual velocity is in here? Because I'm not sure if this vector 30000 is the current value of it. That's how it shows the value. No, it says current value, but I don't see if that is a current value. Can I like... How the hell can I preview the value of it? Zink says, no, not at all. No time to feed and take care of a cat. The cat sees us more like the cat is the owner of you. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, that's great. If you see that you don't have time for that, then it's great that you're taking a responsible step of not having a cat. So many people are taking pets and they don't have time and space in their life for it, and their pets are suffering for that. Barabbas says, if he's biting the cables, you can try to put some hot sauce on them, and that may teach him not to do it anymore. That is an idea. And also, hi Barabbas, how are you doing? Nice gathering here. We got Sion here, we got Pashi here, Zinx, Barabbas. Nice. Just says that bool const, etc. It doesn't say the value, so I cannot trust that the value is 0. Output. There's an output, animation, shader editor. Okay. Now I just... It's funny, I'm trying to debug the simplest thing ever, and I see that my character is constantly being seen as not on the floor, right? This on floor has to return false. So it constantly tries to do the gravity times delta and adding it to the velocity. I see the values here. Barabbas says, sleepy. I need to grab another can of Monster. Oh, you want Monster? Damn. Barabbas, are you addicted to energy drinks? Also, I got a question for you, Barabbas, because I started playing... I finished Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I really liked it. Some of the sequences was failing on logic, but emotional scripting is there and it was okay. And Miles Morales is a nice character. And then right now I'm playing Spider-Man 2. Tell me, Barabbas, is this going to be through a whole game where Miles is being written way better than Peter? Because for now I'm playing it and Peter annoys the fuck out of me, and he didn't in the original version, the Spider-Man 1 on PlayStation 4, while Miles is actually like, yeah, he's fucking great. And Peter is like unsufferable at some points. I'm like, this is what's going on. This is, I mean, I guess it is the same Peter Parker, but he's wording his sentences in such way. And we got where's the bot? Let me quickly delete this motherfucker. And first bot deleted. Better for real? Yeah, at least for now when I'm on the start of the game, like Peter is annoying as fuck to me and Miles is just Spider-Man. He's just like, I don't know, he's exactly how I expect him to be. Barbara says, well, yeah, he's annoying, but I think that's just because it was supposed to be this whole Venom story. I'm still pre-symbiote. At the beginning of the game, I just dealt with Sandman, and I'm really right at the beginning. Like, Kraven just showed up. Zink says, you can add blocklist body as far as I know. That add-on prevents AI bots or even such messages. Oh, really? Blocklist body. I need to write this down and add it in the free time. Where the hell is this? Here. Let me quickly create like a node. Biggest node. Blocklist body. Add it to stream. Will automatically prevent bots and messages. About AI viewers. I don't need AI viewers. I don't know why. Yeah, for boosting, but it just defeats the purpose for me. Alright, like, let's go around debugging of Godot. Because that is very simple math, right? I guess the thing that I don't understand is why he is thought of not being on the floor constantly. And if he's still not on the floor, why my velocity doesn't... Okay, let me do the first. Godot log print cd script. I need to see how can I log some values. Barabar says, on the other hand, Miles is just a side character for most of the story, and his missions are herder, Brooklyn Grey, black minority culture super with a lot of wokeness. And I'm not against this, but for this story it's just too much. Oh really? Huh. At least playing the Miles Morales game, I didn't felt this at all, to be honest. I felt more like, oh yeah, he's living in Harlem, he's saving Harlem like a local friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right? That's how I took it in his standalone. And for now, at least his side story concentrates strictly on what the hell, his high school and trying to get to college. So for now, there was nothing about culture, really. At least for now. I don't know how it will be later. It's like the only thing they have for him, and it's sad. Really? At least in the standalone game, I haven't felt that at all. And here, it's too early to tell. But for now, it feels more like, hey, he's trying to get into college, but kind of doesn't want to write an essay to get into college, so he's getting distracted with Spider-Man shit, which feels very relatable about procrastinating. But I'll see, you know, like how it will evolve further. Because right now, for me, Peter is unsufferable. Like, I was mad when the game made me go into Peter Parker's house and clean his house. I was like, what the fuck is this mission? I don't want to do this. And also, I started laughing with my partner, like, Peter Parker is supposed to be poor, but his house is so big that people will be taking big loans here in Poland to have a house like his. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so bad, Emo. His standalone game was so much better in portraying him as a character. Here he barely matters at all. Ah, okay. I see what you're saying. So for now, I am at the beginning and I don't have a full grasp of how he will be portrayed there. Okay, yeah, because his standalone I actually really fucking like. The way he was portrayed, and I was like, alright, good job, Insomniac. Barabbas says, though he is the friendly neighborhood part at least. Peter, from what I remember, was too focused on the big bads of the story. Oh, okay. I'll see how it unfolds. At least gameplay-wise, I'm having fun. So, you know. I'm not a big fan of Craven, but we will see how it will run. Okay, printing messages. I need to debug why the hell nothing works, really. Because my character, like... Can I override the game camera? Oh, I can. Okay, what is going on? Okay, I'm in the air. That's why it thinks I'm not on the floor, but also why the velocity is not working. Toggle selection visibility, don't lock, blah, blah, blah. Okay, okay. I want to print the value of my velocity because I strongly suspect that, yes, even though I am doing some operation to it, for some reason it is 0. Velocity is 0 and nothing is really happening. There are several project settings to control logging behavior in Godot. See printing messages on printing messages. The printed output is generally clean. Okay, so there's like, just print. Print rich, push error, push warning, print for both, print error, print row. Alright, let's just freaking print. Can I like stop that, all of that? And before move and slide, can I print an arcs? I want to print velocity. And how about expected statement indent instead? Wait, what? Of course, velocity. And I want to print velocity after this because I want to see what happens. And how the hell do you type in velocity before move and slide? Does that work in Godot? I guess it does. Well, I cannot velocity. Fuck, I did. Alright, print velocity after move and slide. There is some piece of knowledge missing in me for this, and I don't know yet what's going on. So we'll be debugging it away, and let's see. Yeah, it's all zeros. It's all freaking zeros. Only at the beginning we had a little bit, from we can see, and it was achieving minus 1.8, going, and at some point it started being just 0, so no velocity. So the gravity was working only for a hot second, and then it stopped. Velocity just became 0, and I don't know why. Let's use the Google. Go.engine velocity stays 0, 0, 0. Trying to use navigation agent to avoid blah blah blah. Okay, no. Rigid body, Y velocity keeps bugging out and gets set to 0. You're not meant to use rigid bodies like this. Use a character body if you want to direct that its velocity. Yeah, I am using character body. What the hell? So this won't help me. So what am I doing wrong? Character body 3D. First of all, let me go the character body 3D velocity state 0, 0, 0. Oh, AI overview. If your character body velocity is stuck at 0, 0, it's likely because an input check isn't firing in the correct loop. Movement logic is being overwritten, or the move and slide function is being called incorrectly. Really? Input polling and movement functions must happen inside physics process delta. That's exactly what I'm doing, you AI. Let's see how AI will handle that. If your input check are placed in ready or a custom function that isn't running every frame, the velocity will never update after game start. Well, I have it in physics process, so no. If you set velocity 0 somewhere in your script, no, I'm not. Missing moving and slide. No, I don't miss it. I have it. If it's not, it's exactly that. That is exactly what is happening here. So it's just it's funny because that AI copied the code from the project that I was looking at, basically. Mm-hmm. All right, so AI also doesn't know. It's probably some, yeah, it's what Zinx was talking about, that he's wasted 2 hours on 5 errors that turned out to be simple. We are probably at this point where I'm missing something extremely simple. Probably a Godot developer would be like, hey, you just need to click that one thing, and I might waste hours on that stupid shit. This is something. No, I know that for physics simulation you need to use physics step, not a regular step, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. And I know that my velocity is being set to 0, and it only works for a small amount of time. And there's nothing really happening here. More. Like, for real. Ain't nothing more happening in this, and I don't know, maybe player is being set up in like a specific way. Speed, gravity, blah blah, motion mode grounded. How is my setup for player? It is grounded, up direction, slide and ceiling. Everything is the same basically. Right? Everything is exactly the same when it comes to like a regular setup. Ray pickable. That is off. Okay. But it doesn't matter that much because it's connected to something else. Let's see, physics interpolation is the exact same. Yeah, everything is exact same. That is not the answer. Do I have to attach like if it's on floor or something like this? I can do else. Ain't problem. Well, y equals 0. I am forgetting that it is like Python and it needs the colon. No. Yeah, 2 dots at the end. Will it work? Is commenting? No. How do you comment in GD script? That's the interesting thing. GD script comment line. Ah, of course, sharp. Oh, of course, that makes sense. Let's freaking. Oh, was that really the problem? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, it's not. It's the wrong game. All right, and I got way too happy. But wait, hey, wait a second. No. And actually we could see like the falling movement for like a hot second and then I think I know what's going on. Did I make my shape, collision shape, too big? Nah, not really. My collision shape is just this. So it's actually quite nice. What about some level? How is the collision shape on this? Is it a little bit bigger? Oh, it's blue. Oh, it's the blue thingy, right? Okay, let's do this and set up the blue thing like this, and then move the whole thing like here. All right, and what is your problem? A non-uniformly scaled will probably not function as expected. Okay, to put it in 111, just put it in 1, and like that. No, it's just like set up perfectly. So yeah, we could see that the character was falling for like a hot second, and then it just stays. Is this on the ground? Is it on the ground? Not really. I'm pressing space and I'm not getting. I'm not getting the debug, right? Okay, but at least now I know that the character is on the floor. We got gravity. Okay, so there might have been problem with just the shape of the collision and my car, or I was lacking this else, that if you're not on the floor, just zero out the gravity. So I guess it might be working right now. And the jump also works. It's weird. I fixed it, but I don't really know what I did. It might have been collision shape problem, or just the fact that it was lacking the else, that hey, if you're not on the floor, just do the Y. So it fell, but the breakpoint was constantly breaking that he's not on the floor. So I'm not really sure how the fuck I fixed it. All right, but the way we'll be doing this endless runner here is you'll be moving left and right. You're staying in place, just faking your animation, right? And things will be spawning in front of you and going towards you. That's it. All right. Let's maybe add some light to our scene, shall we? Because it doesn't look great. How the hell you were perspective? Okay. Let's add some light. A real light, directional light. I think this will be alright. Where's the directional light? There it is. Sky mode. Light only and sky. I could not care less. That doesn't matter. I'm just. The placement of the directional light usually doesn't matter. The direction matters. And I want it like this. I want it like this. Thank you. I'm just moving it away just for the ease of navigation. And let's play the scene. Now it should be lit. Our character kinda jumps. And yeah, okay. Baraba says, how do you like Godot for now? It's really too early to tell whether I would want to ship a game with it or not. But so far I'm kind of liking the lightweightness of it. That if I had right now Unreal Engine 5 fired up, my whole computer will be burning, even on the most basic scene, right? Here, it barely breaks a sweat, so that's one thing that I like. The other thing that I like is, for educational purposes, it forces you to think about more how actually engine works, because for example here, if you drop a shape, a cube, like I dropped for a ground, your characters won't be stopping on their own on the ground while falling, right? You need to add collision shape, and if you want to simulate it via 3D, you need to add rigid body. Unreal kinda does it, all of that underneath the hood for you, which can lead to funny situations when someone might think they know how the engine works. Actually, it handles things, it hides away from you a lot of things, right? Which for certain things can be great, but the moment you try to start edit certain behavior, in Unreal you have to dig really deep. Here it seems like I can just delete things, script away, etc, etc. I like text scripting, but that's a given. I'm a C++ programmer, right? So for me, text scripting is... I just have to learn the API and the language itself for GD script. But I can easily see how, for example, exploring what is even possible is harder than in visual blueprints, right? Because you cannot just press right mouse button and see the whole list of functionalities that you can use, right? And trying to figure out how one function flows into the next one. You kind of have to use documentation, forums, LLMs, whatever, to constantly check how you can do something, right? Also, this is both educational, but can be a problem for someone fresh learning. You have two ticks here, basically. You have physics process, which is like a physics tick, and regular tick, right? And immediately the engine tells you need to know what's the difference between them, how to use them, etc, etc. In Unreal Engine, you just get the tick, and all the details about processing, what is being processed first, what is being processed later, is being hidden away from you, right? And if you want to change any behavior, also, it will be harder, right? But the engine is very simple, in my opinion, compared to Behemoth that is Unreal, right? Yes, Unreal does a lot of magic away for you. So if you are doing, simple things, it kinda connects itself quite nicely. But at some point you are hitting the roadblock when you're like, alright, I really need to dig deep into those systems and most probably learn C++ or not, or read a lot of documentation, etc, etc. Here it seems like the first, entry might be like, holy shit, what the fuck I'm doing, but the more you do it, the more you're getting used to like, okay, I'm kind of building things from scratch. Engine does a lot of work for you, but not all of work for you. I don't know if that makes sense. So far I'm liking it, but I'm at the beginning. Like right now I'm trying to script away something simple, of course making beginner's errors, etc, and we'll see how it will work. And for example, one thing that I didn't like from the get-go was I wanted to export this funny little character from the game, because like in Unreal Engine 5 you have mannequin in every empty project that you start. Here you have nothing, and I have to figure out how to export this little dude, his animations, etc. And it turns out you basically have to go into Windows Explorer and just copy the files over to your project and it works, right? So that was like, oh, okay. And if you copy it badly, like some of the referencing might not work out and you have to rehook it up again, right? But so far I kind of like the simplicity of it. And I was showing at the beginning of the stream to Pashi, I compiled a huge list, where the hell is it, of like huge Excel spreadsheet of functionality, how it is in Unreal Engine 5, the Godot equivalent if there is one, and if this is a plugin, a link to it, some comments, and I collected a lot of those things. For example, Barabash, Godot actually can have visual blueprint scripting, blueprint-like scripting. Someone did created that. So maybe if someone doesn't like writing scripts by hand, you know, you can install this plugin and start working on things in visual matter. That's also something interesting. And we will see, because one stream, or probably a couple of streams, I want to dedicate to recreating the look of this whole post process that I achieved in Unreal Engine 5. And one of the main reasons that I wanted to try out Godot is that, for example, creating stylized rendering, although might require a little bit more knowledge than in Unreal, but is less resource incentive, if it makes sense. Like you can do a lot more, like turning off features of rendering, or basically skip the whole rendering processing and tell the engine exactly what it needs to do, right? So potentially you can turn off a lot of stuff that you don't need. In Unreal Engine, you can turn off nanite, you can turn off lumen, but a lot of steps that the engine is doing along the way, you need to get into C++ rendering code and probably destroy the renderers. So that one thing for sure is better for Godot, even though I haven't tried, but just the idea that I can access the render stack is great. But we'll see how my opinion will change later. All right, the one thing that I want to add is an animation of falling when I'm in the air. Let's do it, right? And I want to add transition. How the hell do you add transition? It was like this. Yeah, one way. And switch mode immediate, or sync at the end. No, immediate. Priority, break loop at the end. And there was like some way of okay, I fucked up. Barbara says, thanks for your insight. Not a problem. We'll see how all of that will shape later as I am exploring all of this shit. Like, for example, right now I just fucked something up. Ah, yeah, because the run, it immediately goes into run. But I play mode forward, advance and start time. Switch immediately, then we are on the run, and in the run we are playing run animation. And it's looping automatically, and on fall we are playing fall. But I want to make expression. So how do you write the expression coordinate? Is not on floor, is that it? All right. And how do I get back from it? I click this, go like this, and I wanna, okay, I need to press this, right? Expression is on floor, right? And it should kind of be working. How can I simulate in the editor transitioning into this? Okay, let me press play on the other project quickly. Oh yeah, this is like a very static animation. All right. But the one thing that I love the most right now about the Godot is its lightweightness. Like really, my PC doesn't break a sweat at all. Like I can quickly show you. Yeah, not at all. My graphics card does not give a fuck about 2 instances of Godot. Thank you. Ah, it's hot. I just got the refill from my girl, my lovely girl, of a nice tea for the infections. Because Barabbas, guess what? Infection is going around as usual. Yeah, and the memory is not being taken at all. CPU is not being taken at all. So after years of constantly having my PC being a constant heat generator while working with Unreal Engine, it is nice to work on some game development and not feeling like my whole PC will burst into flame. I really love that feeling. So this is looping right now. This is just like a 1 frame of animation, right? What other animations I do have here? I kinda don't remember. Edge grab, idle. Oh, we won't be using idle at all. There's jump. Oh. There's jump and then there's fall. Oh, actually, if that's the case, how about we do it differently? Let's add a new node, blend space. Nah, I'm not gonna use blend spaces right now. Let's use jump. Why can't I just move it? Oh yeah. And now I want to, can I make a change transition? Right now that it won't go from here, but it will go into jump. I don't see how I can do this. Or can I go like... No, I basically have to like delete this. Okay. So let me just go like this. Then from jump to fall. And put this in advanced. If is not on floor. Right. All right. Now it should be like run, then transition, jump, from jump to fall. In a single frame. What? What was this output? Parameters playback has detected 1 or more looped transitions in a single frame and aborted to prevent an infinite loop. You may need to check the transition status. Alright. This is my transition mode. Okay. This immediate break loop at the end. If true, breaks loop at the end of the loop cycle for transition, even if the animation is looping. And then the jump, play mode forward. Yes, and can I make it not repeat? Next is run, jump, fall. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do here. But I'm trying to get rid of this error, of this warning. Animation node state machine playback. Parameter playback has detected 1 or more loop transitions in a single frame. Yes. It is. But I don't want to have a loop of jump. I want it to... So should I go like this and break loop at the end? Should I go like this and this will be fine? Yeah, this right now this is exploration of animation tree graphics API, right? So like jump, we're going run, then jump, and immediately it goes like this without any transition. I don't want transitions right now. Big transitions, the output is There was previously a parse error. Can I clear? I can clear. Okay, I think it will work. It will work. Let's go into some level. There's a previously a parse error. Yet another bug. Parser. What? Okay, what the hell is going on? What kind of parse error do I have? Execute. There was previously a parse error. Can you show me where? Math, expression, execute. Error set, true. C++ source. Okay, great. But where? Is it in my script? Not really. Whoa. Okay, so immediately we are like hitting something, some errors. Animation. Okay. I wish it would show me where the hell error is, because with that I kinda don't know where the error is. And when I press play, it just generates a shitload of errors. That's fun. Is it somehow connected to... Wait. It is connected to the... Look at that. It is somehow connected to the animation tree? Because I don't have a game running right now, right? No, I don't. There was a previously a parser, yet another parser bug at core math expression. I don't have source yet. I want to build it from source at some point. Go that route of working with this engine, but I just don't see where the problem is. Animation tree. And it is when I'm here. When I'm on fall. Does that stop? Yeah, that stops. So it is connected somehow to being in the run. It starts generating errors. But why? Why, when, how? I have no idea. Is it somehow connected to the... to this? Not really. If I am in the animation state tree and I'm just playing running animation, it just... Is it that? What if I reset the expression? Ah, then it doesn't work. Okay, let's delete all those transitions. Yeah, I'm zeroing in on debugging this weird ass error because I want to see what I did badly. No, just running is not doing anything. It had to be something with the transition. Let's load this project up, player, animation tree, and see how they did the transition. There's idle run. How do you write it? Not distant floor. You don't write is, etc. Okay. Okay, I just typed it out wrong, but the expression checker didn't show me that I written wrong expression. So now I understand what I did wrong, because I written is not and then like a function on floor, and it didn't show me jack shit that I was doing something wrong. So that's the first pain point, in my opinion, that would be huge if someone was working on animation. They can type in any expression when creating transition, right? I can type in fucking whatever in here, blah blah blah, and it just won't produce. Look at that, it just shows me nothing. It doesn't show me that I cannot do anything. Alright, that is a little sucky, I have to say. I wish there was like something that would evaluate your expression here and show you that no, what you've written is fucking wrong. Right? Okay, now knowing what the hell is going on, I wanted to go into fall immediately. And then I wanted to go here. And that one is... Right, now it should work. Okay, so we found the reason why it was producing a lot of errors. Because it was trying to parse expression that I've written out because I didn't remember how the function, what was the name of the function, etc. And it didn't tell me jack shit what was going on in here. Probably if I compiled the engine from the source code, I could just go into source code, break at exact point that it was showing I should break and see like, huh, what the hell is going on? Maybe I should start typing out some comments and somewhere to like, what the hell? What the hell is this? Ah, it was the original version of the table. Okay. How about we start writing out? Or maybe no, fuck it. Let's just start writing this out here. MTL draw. Godot paint points for now. Anim tree transition expression evaluation can accept anything and won't show where the error is. Really? I think at least that's the case. Like, once again, if I typed out here is blah blah blah, it's just not happening. Like, but also the expression is not really being evaluated in here. Do I need to like save it and press play on some level in order for it to get it fucked up? No. So I'm not even sure if that was really the case, but still, the case is I typed in gibberish in here. It didn't show me any warning. Didn't tell me that, hey, you fucked it up. So what I need to do is check if there is an option for it. Maybe what I need to do is do some source engine build and maybe I could fix that somehow, I don't know. But it's hard for me to believe that the anim tree wouldn't have such functionality of like, hey, you're having a transition, you can type in whatever expression and it wouldn't really... Okay. I don't really understand what was being said there, but it's hard for me to believe that people are shipping games and they don't have any like any form of expression check in here. It's very hard for me to believe. But fucking whatever. Let's see if the anim worked. It did. No, the animation doesn't work. What? Do I have to do something special in order for my... Because I'm starting and I'm running, and the moment I press jump, I am doing this, and... Ah, I haven't typed in yet. Now it should be working. Can I... How can I make some scene? Project main scene, okay. Project settings, main scene. No, the main scene I want it to be some level. So I can just press F5, right? And just start testing immediately. And I just see that... Yeah, of course, the jump arc and everything is fucked up, but that's not what we're here today for. Why this transition is not really happening? Let's take a peek at the example freaking thing. X space time, blah blah blah. If not is on floor, then it should go into fall. Then from fall it would. And it kind of works. Okay, what is going on in the script? If there's anything connected to the animation in here? I don't think so, but no, it isn't. Does animation player need some setup? No, animation tree needs some setup. Advanced expression, base note, player, note state, anim player. Shit like that. Okay, how it is set up in my case. Tree root. Here it is. Wait. Player. All right. Now it's working like this, but I didn't know that you could say like, hey, advanced base expression node used to evaluate animation node expression is if one is not specified internally. That's actually quite kind of fucking cool, because I can be like, hey, I have this script in this node, use everything that is in this node, and I can just use the logic and all the variables that I exported in here, and that's actually pretty freaking neat. Alright. Let's play it. Yeah, our animation kind of works, looks like ass, but who cares, right? Now for a quick script for moving left and right. But this will be fake moving left and right because we won't be actually using any gravity. Anything like this. We'll be just like moving the character left and right. Or should we use velocity? Maybe we should use velocity. The same way they did it in here, like it is in physics process, right? So now I need to create directional input, but I really will only have left and right. And how they set it up in here. That's why I like having example projects whenever I'm using, even in Unreal Engine, or trying to see any part of technology, because it is faster to see like how someone set up something and try and then applying that to your project than going through the documentation or tutorials or whatever, or just trying out blindly. I don't really like input map. I'm way too used to enhanced input from Unreal Engine 5, and yeah, I don't need that. Delete. All right. And I saw that there is something like input forge and guide, but I saw also comments that maybe that's not the best way of going about stuff in Godot, so I will be exploring like similar things, right? Oh my god, it's loading. Cloudflare is fucking up. Is Cloudflare down? Nah. Oh, there is some. Is there an issue? Cloudflare dashboard login issue. No, only login. The rest of it is operational. So yeah, okay. So just the website for geo or guide is not there. But I will be exploring some more input solutions, or if push comes to shove, I will create my own. All right. So they did like right is physical. That zone, yeah. Left A, right D. As simple as that, right? So the same shit we will do in our think. Add new action. Left. It reminds me of Unreal Engine 4 days before enhanced input was a thing. And it will be this button. And it will be this button. I also wonder how you in Godot do automatic conversion to like from QWERTY to French keyboard and every other type of keyboard out there. AZERTY, etc., right? Because for Unreal Engine you can just buy one small plugin and it will take care of you immediately. All right, we have two mappings. We can start working with that. I don't need that line. The one thing that I'm not very fond of is Python like indentation. Indentation creates the name of it. That indentation matters, right? And C-based languages usually don't matter. You're using brackets, etc. Here it matters a lot, just like in Python. But you can just get used to it. And also I don't like it only because of me not being used to it. So whatever. Okay, now I can just create this directional input. But let me think. Because I will have only one. Let me explore the input get vector. Fine. Because you're providing negative x, positive x, then negative y, positive y, and then a dead zone. Can I also have, is there like a version of that that only gives you like one axis, or do I have to actually create all axes but just completely ignore everything? Lookup symbol. That's one thing that is nice, that you can just straight up get into the documentation. You click lookup symbol and you're here. Vector 2 get vector. Positive x. Not really. Has joy light, has joy motion, is actually just pressed. Get joy info, get joy gyroscope, lots of functions, right? Action press, action release, blah 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 blah. Let me just search for all the, oh yes, there is like method, all of the methods. I can just get all access. Instead of like vector and use the vector to do things. But get access is also like interesting. I might use get access instead of those get vectors. Because really the only thing that interests me is whether I am pointing left or right. That's it. Yeah, we'll try to use that. The gravity, blah blah blah. And it's nice because I can just be like, okay, get access, boom. Get access input by specifying two actions, one negative, one positive. This is a shortcut for writing input get action strength. Okay. So we will try to use get access. So it would be like float. Oh, I can float horizontal input get access. What the hell is this thing saying? I can't use just like float. That's it. I have to use var. Oh my god. And it will be like negative action, yeah, left. Positive action, right. And I think that's it. I really cannot type in float. Yep, expect an end statement after expression. Found an identifier instead. Alright, if you really want me to use weak type variable, okay. Ah, because that's how you do it. If I want to strongly type it, I can just go like this and float. So variable horizontal input, that is float, and I got everything I wanted. I wonder if this if directional input automatically assumes that it is non-zero. I guess we'll try to do it similar way. Okay, what I wanted to do, really? Just go left and right. That's it, really. Let me create like an export variable first. Export var horizontal impulse, horizontal speed, float, I don't know, 1 for now. And we're going to do velocity, and I need to take a peek at the scene. How did I set it up? On the x-axis, alright. Velocity.x equals our horizontal speed times horizontal input. Okay, we are using different case here. I'm going straight with the Unreal Engine naming convention, but they're using this convention here, of course. I forgot that that's what they're using in Godot. Vector 2, vector 3, blah, 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 blah. Course, and I wonder if the variables, if I press left or right, will be all the way, it will be -1 or 1, or what it will be actually. We'll see, but let me just quickly output panel. It was just print, right? So how about we print I so wanna do this. Coming from C++. God damn. With this n times, of course, delta. And I think we can just start playing. Yeah, it is going into 1 and -1. Of course, it's not moving character at all. I guess we have to, I don't know. We have to, oh my god, something is happening with my eye. But actually, that's not exactly how I want it to work. No, that's exactly how I want it to work, I think. Yeah. So, of course, we want to go else velocity dot x equals 0, right? And the fuck you want? Yeah. And this that. And what else do we need here? Nothing really. I could do like safeguards that, hey, programmatically without collisions, that hey, if you reach the specific x barrier, you're going in specific x position, you cannot go further, right? If we're making a real game, but here we are just trying to make Endless Runner just to learn the API of GDScript and GDScript itself in the engine itself for the first time, right? So that's what we're doing here. Open up the window. It's a little bit hot in here. All right, so we got this, we got that. What else do we want? What else do we want? I think that's it, really. Maybe I can balance this speed a little bit better. Yeah, it can be like this. Of course, we could go into the details of like, oh, when you are in the air, you cannot, you have less of an air control, etc., and all the typical platformer shit. But that's not what we're doing today here. What else do I want to like quickly do? Because I have this, I have moving left and right. Yeah, let me change the binding actually to A and to D, because actually it has been annoying and I of course I reversed everything. That's great. No, actually A, D, right? Oh, wait a second. Positive axis is in that direction, right? So minus should be connected to... No, it's correct. Wait a second. Am I losing my mind or... Yeah, right now it's inverted controls. On the... Yes, okay, okay. Right should be positive. Left should be negative. Now everything is correct. Just a stupid error. Alright, we got things exactly how I wanted it. Now, for the main event, I just want to spawn blocks that will be constantly moving towards the player. And I want to spawn them on the ground floor, on the... in the air. And I kind of want to go about it in such way that... Let me quickly grab this. I want to go about them in such way that I want to create like a... Here's like the whole viewport of the level, right? Here's my character. I want to create like an invisible, just a box on the ground and in the air. And in the script, I will be taking the Y position of that and Y position of that in order to know where to spawn it. And then some random value between, on the X axis, between this to spawn it. And maybe have like adjustable in the Z axis, which let me remind you in Godot is forward. From where, like a spawn point, right? On the Z axis. Or you could even simplify it right now. It just occurred to me. Just create a spawn point. 2 spawn points, and one will be spawning and the other will be spawning randomly, and you won't have to do anything like this. Screw that, screw that. It was a screwed up thought. So basically what we'll be creating right now is... What the hell? Just delete this. we will be creating just a spawner. Just a spawner that will be spawning an element right in front of us. So in our 3D scene, it will mean that we will be, first of all, we need to create our obstacle. That's what I was searching for. Scene, new scene. It will be a 3D scene. Yeah. And I wanted to have cube. No, there's nothing like cube. What 3D nodes actually I do have here? There's like a static body 3D. 3D body that can be moved by external forces and moved manually. It doesn't affect other bodies in the path. No, that's not exactly what I want. What I want is just an actual collision and a mesh, and they will be moving forward via either velocity, or I can just, you know, add to position. I don't care. Because at the moment of detection, it's supposed to like kill the player or whatever, right? So collision shape 3D. A node that provides a shape to a collision object 3D parent. Okay. So these are my 3D possibilities. Area 3D. Oh! Actually, a region of 3D space that detects other collision objects 3Ds entering or existing. Great! That's exactly what I want. This node has no shape, so it can't collide. Consider adding a collision shape 3D or collision polygon child to define its shape. Great. That's great. And we will add what they wanted. Collision shape 3D or collision polygon. All right. Collision shape 3D. What do they want here? Shape must be provided for collision. Please create shape. Box shape. I want this to be a box shape. Yeah, it can be exactly like this. Fuck it. And yeah, area 3D, right? And what do I have to do in order to detect? And if there's like a gravity disabled, yeah, and I just want to move it forward. I don't know what these layers are. So right now, this is interesting because we will be setting up the collision in here. This is our collision shape, and this is area 3D that is supposed to be like doing things, and I know nothing about that, and I also need a little break. So it will be a 5-minute break. And then we'll set up a shape, but also I want to set up like some actual mesh instance 3D node that contains the instances mesh into scenario. Yeah, great. It requires, do we have like a box mesh? We do. Surface material override. Can we override? Great. Great. So now we have obstacle, right? We have our obstacle, and we will set up the collision on it. A little script for it, and then we will create like a spawner of those things. Ah, yeah, and the obstacle has to have in the script. It has to contain the script that will be moving this obstacle towards the player, right? The one thing I am really interested in is like in Unreal Editor, in Unreal Engine, you could set up whether the collision is blocking, overlapping, or ignoring. I wonder, does that work? Yeah, we will discover this mystery in a second. So we'll be back in a couple of hot minutes. I need a quick break and see you after the break. All right, I'm back. I'm back after a small break that I needed. Let's go into the collision set. So, what I need to do is by script or by whatever means detect that my collision overlapped with the player, and if it overlapped, kill that motherfucker, right? I see that there's something called layer and something called bit mask. My guess would be that this is saying which collision bit mask given node is occupying, right? And the mask is like, okay, what collision detection, what other masks it can collide with as a collision detection. So, in all honesty, I think I like this setup a little bit more than in Unreal Engine, because in Unreal Engine you have also like eventually converted to bitmask, but collisions, right? And you can choose to ignore, overlap, or block, right? Here it's a little bit different setup, because from what I understand, like area 3D is the one to be used for overlapping, static body is the one that works like a regular static body, and here you are just saying which layer it occupies and with what other layers it should detect that it is collision. But the response to collision, whether it's overlapping or blocking in the physics way, or should it bounce back, is basically deciphered here. The one thing that Unreal Engine, like right from the get-go, seems to have possibility to work with from the get-go is like you might have a body that have one collision shape, and immediately it can block and do the physics collision with one things and overlap with other things via single component. Here, I guess you would have to add two collision shape components, each with a little. They might even have the exact same layers set up, right? But you would have both area 3D and static body 3D, I guess, to achieve that. Which might be confusing coming from Unreal, where you have one singular component that would dictate all of this. Here you need to have two, I guess. There was like something that I could rename the layer, but that's not really, clicking like here is not really nice. There has to be like some project setting for that, right? Layer physics 3D. Really nothing? Globals? No. Nah, I don't believe it. Of course, layer names. 2D renderer, 3D, blah, 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 there is physics. So I can name this player. I can name this obstacle. And I can name this ground, for example. Will it show up here? We'll see. Yep. Obstacle ground. So this will occupy layer. Oh, and it can occupy multiple layers at once. That's interesting. I prefer one singular thing, but I can see how something can be destroyable obstacle, wooden, and something else at the same time. In my layer, my guy, I want to be obstacle, my obstacle, and I want to detect collision with player. Alright. That's great. How the hell do I detect that I interacted with anything. Because what I want to do is to tell, I want to detect that I'm colliding with the player and send him the signal that, hey, you just hit the obstacle. And so the player can be like, oh, I hit the obstacle, I should die, right? So let's do exactly that. I know that Godot uses something named signal, but I don't know. Okay, this is the time where I need to Google things. Godot collision layers physics introduction. Oh, okay. Physics interaction, blah blah blah, collision objects. Yes, that already I discovered that we have area 2D, we have static body 2D. Area 2D is more for like overlapping objects. Static 2D is where you have a static body, something can collide with you, but the object itself will be static, not moving. This is like regular physics, and this is character physics. Physics material, collision shapes. Do not scale collision shapes. Of course. Makes sense. Physics process callback. Oh yeah, this is like the whole write-up about processing things in a regular tick, in a regular frame, and then physics frames. Okay. Not today. It's not the time to differentiate, to talk about this differentiation, but most engine, like if you are coming from Unity, you will have the same thing. In proprietary engines, you'll find like, oh, tick and physics tick, etc., right? Or like physics pre-processing or whatever, right? In Unreal, I guess you have just a tick that you can do for actor, but you can set up when in the frame it is being actually invoked, right? And you can do it during the physics processing, before physics processing, after physics processing, etc. Collision layers and mask. Collision layer describes the layer. Yeah, so okay, so I deciphered that. Oh, and I found that shit on my own. Okay, deciphered that quite nicely. There's the GUI, some code example of how we can check the layer. Yeah. Of course. We can by hand send everything. Area 2D. Overriding physics parameters, detecting other bodies. Enter, exit region. Yeah. Integrate forces. Contact reporting. Okay. Guess I have to press here. Character body move and collide, move and slide. Alright. Okay, overlap detect. Area property. Monitoring. Oh, monitorable monitoring. Enable or disable the area. Zing says, you have today on Twitch only 2 viewers. Last time it was more. Oh yeah, that happens. I had the biggest stream I had was, oh my god, Dexterovsky was here when that happened, and I don't know what happened. I think someone raided me. It was like 30 something people, but there are streams where I have the whole stream going on and there are like 2 or 3 people only, right? So it just fluctuates. At my level of followers and YouTube subscribers, that's kinda what happened. I also very strongly suspect that because right now I am streaming Godot, not that many people are interested. Still, Unreal is like, Unreal and Unity are the kings when it comes to like streaming meta. If you want to get views, you're streaming in one or the other and eyes are upon you. Godot is not that popular as the other 2 engines, so when people are scrolling like, oh, I want to watch some development, they are usually either developing in Unity or Unreal and they might click on that. So that's also a case. But even when I was streaming Unreal, I had streams when I had 1 viewer or even 0 viewers for the whole duration of the stream. But you know, still, I got a stream like it was 37 people or 2 people. The exact same, you know, engagement on my end, right? No change in pace here or anything like this. And also, I suspect someone might be saying, oh shit, Unreal developer tries Godot. There will be lots of introductory stuff. Oh, and here's the guy that actually is doing like something for their project. Okay. Because this is right now, it's more like a tech evaluation and learning how to script everything, etc. So, you know. Zing says, but why are you trying out Godot? What is the reason behind it? That's a good question. Basically, me and my friend, we were... at the day job, I'm working with Unreal Engine 5, right? And me and my friend Pashi, who was here at the beginning of the stream under the nickname Diabolit, we started making a game together. We have an idea for it, and we started developing an MVP. Diabolit is still here. Okay, so you're here. Diabolit is Pashi is still lurking here. We started developing the game in Unreal Engine 5, but we were at the first step of it, implementing MVP of an MVP. Pashi was doing it on the gameplay scripting side in Blueprint. I was kinda exporting the art style that I found for another game that I was making on stream, and that was like very stylized. Oh my god, exit pen mode. Right? And then what happened? What happened was Unreal Engine 6 got announced. And they announced that the blueprints will be deprecated. So immediately both me and Pashi were like, well, what the fuck? Because that game was also not only about, hey, let's make a game and release it, but also like, hey, let's educate ourselves in ways that we would otherwise not be able to educate ourselves in during our day jobs. For Pashi, it was scripting and gameplay scripting, etc., etc. For me, it was things outside of coding and scripting, or should I say outside of coding. Still more like learning more about blueprint scripting, because I'm not that particularly, I don't do this as much on the day job, and learn more about design, etc. Like, you know, learn other things, right? But we were like, so not only blueprints will be thrown away, the new scripting language Verse is very specific. It's unlike C#, unlike GDScript, although it has more in common with GDScript than C# has. It's very particular. Has more in common with Haskell and Pascal and Python, and it's created for a very specific reason. But also the whole C++ gameplay framework supposedly is thrown out the window, right? So we had like a talk where we were like, damn, we can just release a game in Unreal Engine 5, but then Unreal Engine 6 comes out and you have to learn everything from scratch. Zing says, the verse fact, yes. And I was like reading upon both Discord and forums how people were like, you know, downloading Unreal Engine 6 main branch and turning it on. The virtual machine for Verse doesn't work right out of the get-go, so people were figuring out how to turn that on, etc. And at the same time, some people were like saying, well, I'm moving to Unity, I'm moving to Godot, I'm staying in Unreal Engine 5. And I started like thinking about Godot because I was always curious about this engine, like, hey, I wonder how this engine works. And I started, you know, trying to find some facts about it. And what I found is that, first of all, when it comes to the game that we are trying to make, scripting it, apart from learning new language, right? Let's assume that we know the new engine, its scripting language, etc. It turns out that it might be easier to script the whole game with Godot rather than with Unreal. And because the render stack is exposed in Godot easily, we can do a lot of stylistic stuff easily and more lightweighty than in Unreal. And Lightwheel is, you know, Godot is lightweight engine, Unreal is anything but lightweight engine, right? So I started to become curious, like, shit, yeah, the verse was the thing that kicked off, like, our thinking, like, why would we dump the next couple of years into, like, learning Unreal Engine 5 workflow of gameplay creation, right, with scripting, when it will be obsolete by the time we are going to release it, right? So, and we are not trying just to make a game for the sake of releasing a game, right? It's not only that. There's a huge educational component to this. And we had a talk, and we decided, let's evaluate. Maybe Godot is the way forward. So right now we are trying out Godot. Pash is doing it on his own. I'm doing it here on stream. We'll probably be doing that for the whole vacation summer period, right? And we will get together and discuss, you know, like, do we want to move to Godot or are we staying in Unreal Engine 5? There are pros and cons for both, right? But we want to, you know, get a feel for that, not just reading forums. Did that answer your question, Zinx? Also, there's the fact that Godot is open source and, you know, we can do whatever the fuck we want with it. With Unreal, you have to get a license, etc. But on the other hand, Epic mega grants, so it's all pros and cons that we will have to vary. But first we need to get a touch of the engine and see if we even like it, because if we decide that no, the way Godot works is not the way we want to work, then whatever the pros could be for it just won't work for us. Zink says, I saw it. It is a mix of C plus Python plus something else. Little weird or non-conventional. Yeah, it's very specific because it is made in a pure transactional manner where every function should be basically treated as remote procedure call, right? As an RPC that could be invoked on a server. And it is functional, so almost every function call should be expressive, right? And basically, like, when you start reading through the whole manifesto of verse, etc., it seems like, yeah, this is the engine made to support first and foremost Fortnite metaverse and creating the games for that. So eventually, probably you could run the whole game logic not on the player's machine, but somewhere in the cloud. And they are just sending RPCs back and forth, and you could handle thousands of people in the metaverse, etc. But for example, our game has no use of that. So it's like you would be writing roundabout code in verse to do something that is simple in C++ and GDScript and Blueprint, etc., etc. So yeah, and we will see what the final shape of verse will be, because right now Epic is facing some serious backlash from developers about both verse and the heavy implication that, well, you don't have to learn verse, just spend your money on tokens and you'll be fine, which token prices are rising, so not everyone will be able to afford that shit. So it's like, we'll see how they will react to the backlash. Zink says, yes, I can fully understand it. I think for me it was either reason why I shifted from creating a prototype engine for me. The blueprints are going to be late 2027 deprecated. Yeah, exactly. I mean, at late 2027 they are going with the early access, right, for UE6. Then 2028, end of the year, it's supposed to be like 1.0 version of 6.0 version, right? And the deprecation is supposed to be somewhere farther along the line, but just as a, you know, sticking the flag into the ground, hey, this is how games are going to be made in future Unreal Engine 6, made everyone quickly stop and evaluate, like, okay, where are we going? Are we staying on Unreal Engine 5? Unity, Godot, proprietary engine? Like, I'm really curious, like, I know what... I mean, it seems like the Unreal Engine 6 will be made mostly for people that were or there right now are kids or teenagers that are making games for Fortnite. They will feel right at home. super hyper extremely big AAA developers like Activision, like the whole publishing Activision, right, will be able to use that because they could afford tokens and they could just prompt away all the verse scripts for the games that they might be making, right? And also they might be really interesting in this brand. What the hell is the name of it? Like this metaverse aspect, right? And making as much profit as possible, right? Those two big camps might be very interested about that, but everything in the middle, from small indies to like AA or smaller AAA, they might be like, well, we're fucked. Either you're going to make games this way, or you gotta spend money on tokens. Like, no one really understands what all of the middle ground will be, right? And I'm curious to see how, companies will react. Will they stay on Unreal Engine 5, the AA and smaller end of AAA? Will they create their own forks of it? Will they start spinning their own proprietary engines again? Or will they be making Godot forks, for example? I don't know. Or will they jump to Unity? Will Unity, after the fiasco that they had with licensing, will this be a thing that might get people back to their engine? I don't know. We'll see. But basically, yeah, Verse kicked off our curiosity about Godot. Because also, like, even looking right now at the way that... accidentally I looked at the inspector and I found the signals group. From what I read about Godot, it's funny. If you want to prepare... It looks like if you want to prepare for the Unreal Engine 6 without touching UEFN, Unreal Engine for Fortnite, it seems like working with Godot or Unity might prepare you for scripting aspect of Unreal Engine 6 better than Unreal Engine 5 right now, because C++ gameplay framework will be gone, at least from what they're saying. So I don't know how it will work out. Claire Obscure Expedition 33, I think that was the name of the game that used only blueprints. Somehow sad to see how blueprints are being just labeled useless. It is a great start to learn. Yes, this is the game that was made 95% on blueprints. I had luck to attend the very lecture that they had on Unreal Dev Fest in Stockholm last year, and I had the pleasure to meet those guys. They are really, really great guys, and you could clearly see that the success of their game was not something that they anticipated, and they are weirded out and like how to say it in English? It didn't went into their head. They are like, what the fuck? It happened? Okay, that's great. It's scary, etc. Like they are not, looking down on anyone. And yes, when speaking to them, this game was the possibility of making this game was thanks to the blueprint, because they early on evaluated that they wouldn't be able to hire that many C++ programmers to pull all of that off. But they are able to take fresh people that never made a game before, but they are great artists, great game designers, or great writers, etc. And it is easier to take someone who's already great at specific thing and teach them blueprint scripting and parts of the engine, then hire all of those C++ programmers. And also the workflow is faster because the writer, artist, game designer don't have to sit down and wait until C++ gameplay programmer will create all the basic building blocks for the game. They can start scripting away on their own, right? And yes, it was visual blueprint scripting that allowed them to even make them. That allowed them to make their game, right? So right now, seeing that the Epic's answer to that is like, nah, fuck all of that. Here is Verse that is very specific, created for specific thing. If you don't want to interact with it, here's LLMs and all the MCP protocols that you have there, etc. Spend money on tokens, right? This is like, okay, but what if I don't want to do this? What if I just want to build everything on my own? Like, do I have to write everything in a roundabout way? Yeah, so the Verse and Unreal Engine 6 kicked off interesting future, because I'm really curious how companies will react to it. Even company like what's their name for the Clair Obscur expedition? Sandfall. Even Sandfall, like, will they stay on Unreal Engine 5 forever? Will they switch to Unity? Like, I don't know, right? Zink says the other option for those who have guts would be C++ with Raylib. If you know library, just a side note, there are a ton of documentation, but it is purely coding. Yes, yes, we had a dude here, I forgot the name of it, he was pushing Raylib heavily. We had like a dude in here that's promoting Raylib, and I was looking at it. I still think I might have it. No, I don't have it in here. Where do I have it? Ah, yes, in my other main browser, I still have it open from the time that he mentioned it. Yes, Raylib is very interesting, and I can see how, you know, people might be choosing that. But it is purely coding. But on the other hand, well, if companies are trying to force artists, writers, and designers to learn coding, actually picking up Raylib and starting with C, you know, starting like from the beginning, let's go into C, and interact with the hardware a little bit more, might give them more of a technical know-how. So, for example, from then from Raylib, jump to like Godot or Unity or even Unreal C++ might be easier, right? It will be a hardcore jump, but you know, it seems like, why not? If that's what the companies are trying to shift the future into, it might turn out that doing something in C with Raylib for a writer or designer or artist might bring them more skills into the future than just learning verse, which is extremely specific, and the way it is working, it will be only for Unreal, right? So that might be a future. Zink says, try it out. You can create a 3D game in around 60 minutes with just blocks and shake cameras, etc. Yeah, there was a guy on Twitch, he was streaming, working with Raylib, and during the day job I turned him on in the background. I was seeing how someone was like quickly blasting and see like with it, and I was like, wow, this is really, really fucking fast. And I want to try it out at some point, Zinx. I want to. Not right now, but, you know, I would love to do it on stream, because I love streaming this kind of stuff, getting into new technology, as you can see. But, yeah, I would love to try it out just for the fuck of it, and just like, let's get back to C, because I haven't coded in C and pure C for long years, and I would love to get back to it. Yeah, I have a thought like last year. If I was writing my own engine, I would either try to learn new language and try to do it in that language, perhaps Rust, or I would try to get back to C and be like, yeah, let's use C. Well, alright, I have the obstacle in here. I have the inspector for my area 3D. Monitoring and monitorable are on. The area detects bodies, areas entering and exiting it. Monitorable. If true, other monitoring areas can detect this area. Alright. Where the hell was I? Yes. Overlap detection. Perhaps the most common use, overlap detection, blah blah. Here's the setup for the coin. Collision shape 2D, area 2D. To detect the overlap, we'll connect the appropriate signal of area to D. Which signal to use depends on the player node type. If the player is another area, use area enter. However, let's assume player's character body, so we'll connect body entered signal. If you're not familiar with using signals introductions. I am not familiar with using signals. Let me like quick scan. What the hell's going on? There's like a button, there is a signal. The dock displays this is signal available on the second node. Double click, press to open the node connection window, receiver method, connect the signal to a method. There you can connect the signal to the sprite 2D node. The node needs a receiver method, a function that Godot will convert the button emulates the signal. Oh, that's nice. So I can just have a signal and basically connect. So when the signal broadcast will happen, it will automatically call back my method. That's great. I can bind arguments, etc. It's really fucking great. And connections to methods will display. Connecting signal via code. All right. On timer timeout, things are happening. All right. I think I get it. Area influence. Okay. So you can create like a gravity areas, etc. Okay. What I'm interested in is just detection whether something entered. Zink says C is the great grandfather of everything except assembly. C is written in assembly. Yes. When someone asks me like how do I learn coding, should I go start with like I don't know JavaScript, Java, or C++ or C Sharp? I like to say like nah, start with C because it's like C doesn't have a shitload of like it isn't over bloated like C++ is, right? It's quite simple. It kind of forces you to understand how computer works, right? There might be a lots of angry moments, but once you get over it, you'll be by learning C, you learn a person learns basis of almost every other language and how software works, right? Assembly is also great to learn. But yeah, assembly I would recommend most to the people that want to learn how hardware works. But assembly is also very, very fucking cool. C is procedural programming, exactly. C++ is object-oriented programming. The difference is that C++ has a class system while C does not. Exactly. And at least in my opinion, at the beginning, for beginners in coding, the procedural programming is a little bit easier to grasp on and like change the way you think about creating a set of instructions to follow, right? But that's like a whole another topic about how to teach someone programming, because I also saw people that actually start with Python and then go down the stack to the assembly. And I saw people that are starting with assembly and C and going up the stack and staying in the high level languages and everything in between, right? So there's not one single bullet, right? All right, so the signal I need to have is area 3D. And the area enters this area. No. Body entered. That's what I want, right? If the character body, which is player, entered, I don't think body exited interesting, because what I want is like if a player overlaps this, I want him to die, right? So receiver method. Oh, but what if I wanted to send the signal to the player? Should I make it so actually the player is the one that detects that it entered this thing? Or can I call the player method from the obstacle script? That is interesting. But I don't have any script attached to it, so I need to create a new script. Let's add it like maybe in here. Obstacle. Okay, yeah, I got this, and my function will be on body entered. Body node 3D. I think that's it. Yeah, and if I okay. have to save first, and then I can do click like this. What happens here? Go to the source, pick. No method found matching given filters. Wait, there's some problem in here, but I don't know what is the problem. Unexpected indent in class body. What? Ah, of course. Now it worked. And on body entered here. Okay, now it detects. I can quickly connect to it. So if I click it, there's like an advance. Extra call arguments. Oh, I can do a one shot. There's a lot of things, but I like the visual nature of hooking up signals to a given function, and it shows me that, hey, this will be called, right? Yeah, the source will be area 3D, and when the body entered, target will be area 3D, and I can do something. Worst way to learn programming from Python to C. The hell, that is hell, but from C to Python, that is heaven. I agree, I feel the same way about my way of learning, but I saw people doing it vice versa, and for some reason it was easier for them. I don't get it, but if it works for them, then great. While Python uses mostly nothing from my point of view, C can access almost everything. Yeah, that is 100% true, and for me, for example, Python has this problem of I don't really like what also is here, but at least I can like influence things, right? Like that you have var, and in Python is the same thing. Like you don't really know what type you're dealing with, but here at least I can be explicit. Like, hey, this is a float, this is a float, this is I don't know, a transform or whatever, right? So yeah, you're right, Zinx. I agree with you, but I saw some people making the jump the other way around. I would not be able mentally to make the jump, but if it works for some folks and they do understand C then later, then okay. Rakesha G6, hi, are you new Godot? Hey, how are you doing? Yes, I am extremely new to Godot. This is my second time interfacing with it at all. I come from Unreal Engine 5 background, and I'm right now trying out Godot just to evaluate whether me and my friends should move to it with our project, because we are at the beginning of the project, really, so we can still make the jump, and you know, I'm learning. All right, so I have this obstacle on body entered. This is something that will be called. And here, let's clean up the output. And how are you with Godot, Rakisha G6? Are you down with Godot, or are you using something else? This engine needs less hardware requirements. Yes, that's one of big reasons. Whenever I'm working on at the day job on Unreal Engine 5 project, my computer turns into basically a heat generator. With this, I think it uses less resources than my browser. So yeah, that's one of the things that I really love about this engine. It's lightweightness. Shit, that's a hard word to pronounce. Okay, so I got that. I got it hooked on. And how about we just like print? That's how it was. Print. I forgot. Output panel. Yeah, it's just print, right? And I can just go body that overlapped, and where the hell is my OBS? Here it is. I can delete that line, and then I can go like body name. Can I just go like this? I can. It turns out I can. So yeah, Now let's get into 3D and some level. Let's actually place my obstacle. Can I just take like obstacle from here and just place it? Yeah, I can. And let's see if I will be able to overlap with the obstacle. Okay, my printing of the horizontal input completely makes anything else unreadable. Yeah, body that overlap. No, at the beginning it detected rigid body of the flaw, but it detects player. Alright, that's nice. That's nice. Zink says, what I never like on coding languages is if the semicolon is missing. I think I forgot something. Yes, that is making me, it's taking a lot of time to, first of all, not using brackets, using this to start to, oh my god, I'm lacking words right now. To state where the function body is and not using the semicolon to end the instruction. Yeah, it is taking a lot of time to get used to. But on the other hand, if we will decide, me and my friend, to use Godot, yeah, the scripts will be done in probably GDScript and C#, but also there I will have C++ source, so I will be working with C++ there, trying to do things, adding debugs that don't exist in Godot, etc. Rakisha G6 says, I'm working in horror game. Oh, that's nice. Are you working on horror game in the Godot? Really nice engine. Oh, you like it, you like it. And what kind of horror game? Is it like survival horror or like some other type of game? Is it 3D or 2D? Diabolit sent some message. I think he meant to do this. Wave his hands to you, Rakisha. Alright, obstacle, obstacle. Oh my god, we did. I was talking way too much, less developing, but also that's. I was wasting time with trying to figure out why the basic gravity. Diabolit, aka Pashi, also asked you, Rakisha, what kind of horror? Where rats run towards you and you try to eat you, that kind of horror game would be something. I think there might be a game like that. Survival horror game, 3D by the way. Look bad now, I'm working 4 weeks ago. Listen, most of the 3D games are looking bad until the last moment, right? The one thing that I don't like, where sometimes big companies are doing, they're trying to push the graphics from the start of the development, which is insane because you don't know what the game will be about, how it will be played, yet you are producing a shitload of assets and wasting a lot of money. Then those assets have to be remade because goddamn gameplay changes. So I like prototyping with just boxes, etc. Because if the game works on bad graphics, it means it will work with great graphics, right? Alright, so we got our on-body entered. And I wonder, is there something like casting? Like, can I be like body, like cast? Yeah, what I'm basically trying to do is like maybe tell the player, if it is a player, that he should die because he freaking died, man. I wonder if I can create my own signal or something. Yeah, we are getting into some more advanced scripting things. Rakisha said, I mostly try make game mobile devices. Games for mobile. That's cool. I never really did anything for mobile. So yeah, Godot for mobile actually is great. Like I wouldn't want to do mobile games on Unreal. I know it's possible, but I cannot imagine the hell of optimization that would go with that. Is your 3D horror game for mobile? Zink says, if you try print body that collides body name, would that work? Yeah, it already works. Like, it already printed that, yeah, you are colliding with the player. Yeah, it already works. What I'm thinking of is I want to create like a function that would say on overlapped with obstacle, right? And what I want to do here is like print player should lose health for now, right? Keisha says, yeah, oh, a horror game for 3D horror game for mobile. I didn't know that. It never occurred to me that a person could do that, but it could actually be quite nice. Are there any like do you have like any game references that you're working with, or are you like working right out of the get-go on your own stuff and you're not looking at other games really? Okay, players should lose health. I need to finish stream soon. Shit, I'm out of time almost. Alright. So I guess more of the exploration of scripting system will be made later. But I really want to call that thing, and I want to know that I overlap with player. Let me just quickly Google that. That I will turn off and go.gd script cast to player equivalent. I don't know how to. Raycast. It is like raycast. That's not what. Okay. In C++, this is called casting. How it could be called in GD script? GD script. Check if collided node 3D is of type player. I don't know. Holy cow. Okay. Static typing. You want to collide. Use the body entered signal to detect the collision. You can check if this is player controller. Okay, we are getting somewhere. I don't know how to ask for that. Rakisha G6 says granny theme. Oh, that could be nice theme for horror. I can see that. Zink says before the player should lose health, I would create a constant variable where it deducts 10 HP every hit, for example, from 100. Yeah, that's exactly what will happen. Zink. Rakisha G6, I hope I earn some money, lol. Oh yeah, that would be the dream if we could earn... If we could pay the bills from our own games. That would be the dream. That's it. Alright, so there's like static typing. Why is... I don't want it in Polish. I want you guys to understand this. Holy shit, how the hell do I change the language in here? Can I just change from Polish to EN? Yeah, there it is. A brief look at static typing, blah blah blah. I wanna see how to use static typing. Yeah, great. What can be a type hint? Yes, but that's not exactly what I'm trying to do. Specify the return type, covariance, and contravariance. When inheriting base class methods, you should follow the Liskov substitution principle. Okay, covariance when inheriting. Yeah, that's not what I'm trying to find. Specify the element type. Typecasting. That's what I was. My brain. Casting is a conversion of a value from one to another. Imagine an enemy in your game that extends area 2D. You want to collide with the player character to be a script called player controller. You use the body entered signal with the type. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Ah, this is the type of script that I should do. Variable player, I'm taking a body as, and I'm typing in the name. And if this typecasting didn't happen, it just does nothing. As we're dealing with a custom type, the body doesn't extend player controller, the player variable will be set to null. Okay, so it is just like regular pointer casting, etc. Ask you silently cast the variable to null. Okay, for now I don't need to know all the internals of that. I just want to know this. Take it as actually player. If there's not a player, return. If it is, after the function name, wait, what? Ah, of course, because there also should be like body. Wait, what the hell? Yes, no. I fucked everything up. Body that overlapped, and I want to do this. Okay, let me delete that because that's not what I want. And if it is, then print player overlap, whatever. I just want to quickly check this out. Player overlap. All right, so that's how typecasting works in Godot, everyone. This is from Pascal. I forgot the name of that typing, but this is from Pascal. In Pascal, you were doing like you are using this type of notation to indicate that you are, overriding some value or something like this. All right, so we got that, but the one thing, and if I have a player, I can just call a method on the player. So my player obstacle can have func. Just quickly, let me check that before I end the stream. On obstacle overlapped. Print. And of course I need this, I forgot. Print obstacle attack player, whatever. Let's just use this. And now I can go like player obstacle overlap, and I can delete that line. Let's see if that works. If that works, then I kind of understand right now how to do a typecasting and call methods. Isn't in Pascal a standard assignment? Yes, that's what I meant. That this is a standard assignment. In C and C++ is just an equal sign, right? But it is from Pascal and it is a standard assignment. I was lacking a word. So thank you. Funny thing, Verse actually uses this as a standard assignment, and the regular equal sign is just for comparison. I think other coward, hey, what's good? What's up, man? Damn, I'm finishing the stream. I'm right at the end of the stream. Absolute coward. GameDev. Yeah. Okay, abstract attack player. Okay, so I'm ready to detect collision when I will add the obstacle movement towards player script. Yeah, okay, so I figured out basic things, but I'm also curious, like, I need to write it down to search for on the next stream. Give me that. Find if Godot has... How are you doing, other coward? How are you doing? How are you doing? Verse is still weird. You have constables for declarations, for example, like tags that define what you want to do, tags, and you type it in verse. Yes, it is full of weird ass things when you look at it, and it's like, why? Then you start reading about that it's supposed to support metaverse and this like very networking safe code, and you're like, okay, I get it, but it is a weird roundabout way of making anything, right? Something like interfaces. And why do I want to find that out? Because maybe I don't want to cast something to a player. Maybe I just want to create signals that I can add to whatever scene node I have, right? And I don't want to cast to this. I just want to call a function, and I don't care what the fuck it is, right? It will resolve itself in its own body of function, what the hell, how the hell it wants to react. Because, for example, I don't maybe want obstacle to know about the rest of the world, about the player or anything like this. Maybe I just want to be like, hey, you, whatever the fuck you are, you just overlap with me, an obstacle. And then the player's like, oh, I interacted with this, and this. I have a list of 6 interactions, and I define how I interact with them, not the obstacle. I don't know if it makes sense. Absolute Coward says, we're chilling. Been doing animation programming in Godot. Oh, and how is it for you? God, I can't stand the way Godot wants you to do animations. These trees suck. Yeah, I already had a problem with animation tree when I was making transitions, and it turned out that I can type in whatever the fuck I want in the expression, and it won't even check it and print any error message only until it is too late, right? So I don't like that. Enjoy it while it lasts. You need to try making unique game. Yeah. Coward then says, the other day I spent like 8 hours figuring out why a combined animation was playing under the hood but not visually. Apparently Godot will just randomly remove filters for no reason at all. I still like Godot more than the other engines, but I also want to put the people who made this in prison. I'll be honest, this is the feeling that always assists, regardless what engine you're working with. On the day job when I'm working with Unreal, certain functionalities, I'm like, oh my god, I love Unreal so much. Then I work on something else and I'm like, I want to find who wrote this and strangle them, right? And I am sure that at my day job, sometimes someone interacts with my code and they are like, I want to strangle Ado for what the fuck he did here. Absolute coward. They've engaged in acts of terrorism against my time. That's one way to put it. I understand. Yeah, like this anim tree, not very... I mean, it looks alright from the get-go, but just this expression already was like, oh. It doesn't even check if the expression is alright. When I typed in gibberish, okay. Only engine I've ever used that I still admire and have no problems with is Raylib. Yay! It is the second time we're talking about Raylib today. Zinx also was talking about it. At least the breakage is my fault. That's very fair from the engine point of view, right? Like, okay, engine works. If things are not working, that it's more of a user fault, then you can just get over that hurdle, learn it, etc. Fix it, learn from it, etc. Right? But when an engine makes a very opinionated decision and sticks to it, you're like, I don't agree with that, and I would have to change the whole source of the engine in order to accommodate for the way I want to do things, right? Absolute Coward says, you're not forced to use expressions, by the way. I set the advanced mode to be enabled universally. Oh. I don't know what advanced mode is. Enabled. And then how it works. Okay, I will explore it on future stream, because if I don't have to use expressions, I might like it. Also, I found, at least I think I found, where the hell is this? I made like this whole big table when I have Unreal Engine 5, some functionality, and Godot equivalent, just to, you know, compare things. So you could just handle all of it on your end instead of having faith in their engine. Okay, okay. Ah, so that's... Okay, so instead of using expressions, I can just script away. That makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, and I even found that someone created like this Godot orchestrator, which is basically blueprints for Godot. Haven't used it, but wanna try it out. It might be fun. And there was something with animation I found that you can use something else. No, I have it in another node probably, or I didn't save it. But I saw that there is something that you could like evaluate animes in a different way. But what I found is Material Maker, made on Godot, open source, equivalent of Substance Designer. I really want to check that out because it seems cool. All right, guys, I think I have to finish right now. Rakisha G6 says main problem is this engine anti-cheat system for some hackers. Try to get 3D models files. Yes. I read about this problem of like, especially if you ship it on Itch.io, but I guess it can be everywhere, that it's hard to secure your assets and script not being decompiled and stolen by bad actors. I heard about that. This is like a con for this engine for me. I also heard that if you go into the source code and you change a lot of things and implement your own security measures, then you could get around this. But still, it's like, oh, I don't want to waste time with that. That's the one thing that I wish engine would do for me. I heard about this. All right, guys. I guess that's it for me. Yeah, let's end on this nice picture of the art style of the game that me and my friend want to do. I need to make an animated version of this because this doesn't sell the flipbooky nature of it at all. And yeah, I think that's it for me. That's it for me for today. Absolute Coward says, con also a plus kinda, means it's not hard to grab stuff from other games. I feel like if your game is popular enough to need an anti-cheat, then you're probably already doing well, suffering from success. That is also true. That is also true. A nice, so-called nice problem to have. And that you can also maybe pay attention to because you made it, right? Alright guys, I have to go right now. So have a nice rest of the day and have a nice whole future week ahead of you. And I'll catch you on another stream. Have a nice rest of the weekend and the whole week, guys. Bye bye. Hey. Goodbye, friends. Hey, bye bye.